to do while we waited to see what was going to happen, but everything seems to be happening very quickly. Right? I met with the ground game. We'll just talk about that in Corvallis, Oregon. I met with these guys. It was an amazing experience. I'm not going to tell the whole experience right now, but just yet. But I met people that are in government office. They're millennials, and they're on fire, and they're making a target list of who we need to remove in our local government. Who is establishment? Who is for the fossil fuel industry? Who is corrupt? And then we're finding people to run in their place, to run against them. It was cool. It was like, wow, this is what the ground game is like. And I urge you all to find a group of people in your community that is discussing politics or that is moving. Where's the Democratic Central Committee for you? Because that's what this was. This wasn't the actual Central Committee meeting. This just was a meeting of passionate previous Bernie supporters, right? Still Bernie supporters, but just working to change the party, right? And one of them ran for office and almost won. Like, just out of the blue, he ran for office, got 42% of the vote, and he will run again. And we're right now we're coordinating on their campaigns. It's incredible. This is where the action is. You want to feel like you're actually taking part in doing something, and I'm not saying that everything else everybody else is doing isn't action, right? If you're protesting, if you're voting, whatever you're doing, but you want to like be somebody of power, to actually have an actual say in what's going on in your community. Get involved with your central committee. Find out where these guys are meeting. Find out where the progressives are meeting. The ground game is happening in your neighborhood, and volunteer to do something that they won't. Because from what I've heard, the majority of this ground game was really a lot of older people that understood this is what you needed to do for politics. And now we're moving in the millennials, the young people who are full of energy and charge, and it's amazing how quickly, if you step in, raise your voice, raise your hand, stand up, take some action, you will be put in a position of power, because very few people in America do that. Right? We don't raise our hands, take action, and we're not proactive. Those are the people. That's how managers choose managers, by the way. I was a manager for years. Hired other people. When I was looking for somebody I could possibly promote, who the hell in here has a big mouth, is willing to stand up and tells me shit, doesn't just bow down and go to prison? That's the first thing I look for. Who's got balls to stand up and, this is amazing what's going on. What do you guys think? Melissa H., we had a Bernie crack woman from the town up the mountain who ran and lost for State House, and she and about 20 of us are having monthly gatherings discussing what we can do locally. Badass, Melissa. Badass. Chad. All I can tell you, Chad, yes. It took me quite some time. Okay? I think it took all of America quite some time. Now you're getting a time. Oh, it's pretty badass. Chad, by the way, Chad is in a super position of power. Now, you can argue the level of the power or whatever, but he's locally, Chad's in a position of power. And now that he's got himself in that position, and he worked very hard to get there, right? Did tons of volunteer work, because Chad's been involved in government for a long time. But now he's in a position of power, and he can move up in those ranks, and he will be able to put other progressives in positions of power, right? This is how it works, and we know each other, right? We are creating our own web, our own network of progressives, and we are going to remove the establishment from our government. Remove it. The problem is, at the top right now, we have Twitler. Just an abomination. I don't even know why we elected this piece of shit. And I'm sure that within a year of his electing, we say something like that, and we haven't stopped his Nazi rise to power, that I will be taken away for saying anything like that. Right? You have to understand where we are at right now. He is ready to impose restrictions on freedom of speech. He doesn't like it when people tell him what they think of him. Not interested in American democracy. We'll get there. I just had to go off for a second. So let me see. What else you guys saying? Hopefully if I get to go to work, nothing will get past. I remember when we had a few 90-year-olds in Congress. Today we have a lot more in my mind. There are far too many, and yes, I'm sorry, I guess this would include Bernie Sanders too. There are far too many people who have been in Congress too long. And we need term limits. We need to it's move on. Fresh brains, fresh ideas, fresh thoughts. Your wisdom counts for something, but after a while, you're just, collecting. I'm sorry. It's time for. Yeah. Will John remove the scapegoats that deflect the petrodollar war? John who? Me? Is this thing on? Hi, Trump's your uncle? It is. What if Trump is impeached in April and we get Bernie? We won't get Bernie, guys. If Trump is impeached, we will get Mike Pence. And that's not better. I mean, I guess it is in some sense. Maybe Mike Pence won't, spend so much time on Twitter. But, it's not really much better. All the other people stay in place, guys. Guys like Rex Tillerson, who we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So hang on a second. I just want to back up a second. Nice, metalhead. Given the average age of senators in Congress, it is statistically likely that at least 20% of them are in the early stages of dementia and or Alzheimer's. That's true. Reagan probably was in the early stages of dementia and Alzheimer's when he was in office. Because he couldn't recall. Remember that? A president that says he can't recall. I don't recall being in office. Presidents should not be allowed to use that as an excuse. I don't remember. I don't. Bullshit. If you don't remember or recall anything going on, then you've got a problem with your brain and you shouldn't be in office. You're the president of the United States. We hired you to be on top of shit. Right? Yet you can go to trial, and when it comes to not being charged with selling arms to both sides of a regime change, I don't recall. Did we do that? Oh. Yeah, fucker. And real quick, so I found out when I was at my dad's that a lot of people watch this show that I wasn't aware of. So hi, all you people that watch this show that I wasn't aware of. And a lot of them are apparently older generation. So I just want to say that I apologize in advance for all the F-bombs that show up here. But this show isn't designed to really compete with anything out there. It's not really designed to be more than a conversation that is real and raw. And if I'm going to be real and raw, I'm going to use cuss words. Because you can't look at what's going on today. You can't be awake today and not want to put some cuss words in there. There's just too much. It's too sad. It's too insane. And so I'm not going to be able to talk about it using light words, PG. I can't. What's happening is not a PG world. It's not a PG-13 world. We have an R-rated world, all right? So I just want to leave that be. Our world is R-rated. What do we got here? Hi, hi, Lily. How you doing? Trump's your uncle. Jennifer, check. I can't wait till December 20th. We can officially have a new president and people can just chill. So, if we have some Trump supporters in the audience, which we might, I'm not sure, but if we do have some Trump supporters, how are you feeling now? Because I talked to a Trump supporter on the plane on the way to my dad's. She sat next to me, and I've got an incredible story about that, but we have to cover like the standard stuff this morning. So the standard stuff that I haven't covered is this beautiful cover. Here's the photo. Laura Livengood right now, everybody, is in Hawaii. And she is enjoying this view. She took this picture, I think, yesterday or the day before of the sunrise in Hawaii, which is just gorgeous. We used that for the picture. I saw Manic EBB posted a really cool orange supermoon, and we're going to use that for the picture tomorrow. But this is what it ended up being for our cover. If you would like to submit a photo for the cover of Awake with John, just send it to hashtag Awake with John on Twitter, at Bernie2016TV. That is our original Twitter account, because this was Bernie2016TV 5 channels ago before it became politicalrevolution.tv, so we can just be a little more general. But anything you want to say, you want to share a link, something going on, you want to talk about something, if you wrote an article, something you find interesting, you want to share a picture, whatever woke you up. What woke you up? All right. Bernie Sanders woke me up. And then it took a whole bunch of other people like Chad and Scott and Janine and all the people that came into the volunteer group and everybody they talked to help educate me And I still have a long, long way to go, right? I don't understand the ins and outs, the little details of what's going on in politics. I don't understand at all what's going on in Aleppo other than we are murdering people. We, us, Americans, right now. We are the bad people there. We are. Okay? That's what I understand, is that we sold weapons to everybody, and now they're murdering children and everybody with our weapons. Our weapons. Okay? And we're trying to make it look like we're out there being the fucking heroes. And we're not. We are the murderers of the planet. We sell weapons and we sell fossil fuels. The two things that destroy this planet fastest. We sell them. We are the Walmart of both. So, anyway, what do you say there, Manic DVB? It's minus 20 wind chill here. Holy shit, where the hell are you? Where the hell are you? You get that beautiful supermoon. That was amazing. I'm fired. Trump's you're feeling jolly this Christmas. Did I get it? Did I get an answer? Do we have anybody who's a Trump supporter in here? Or is that just are you guys being sarcastic with your name? I'm just curious. Because the Trump supporter lady was amazing. She woke me up to a lot of things. I think that the key to what people who don't understand why people voted for Trump is missing. Because I talked to my sister and her husband, and they're like super hardcore liberals, and they like Bernie Sanders, but they really didn't understand why people voted for Trump. They didn't get it. And I'll explain that. I'll explain that in a minute. But here, I want to see. You're in Wisconsin. Oh, jeez. Regen Villages is a startup real estate development company aiming to build small, self-sustaining residential communities around the world. That's cool. Share us a link to that, EcoSutra. That's the escape plan. Oh, okay. Sarcasm. Okay, Trump, thank you. Sorry. Sarcasm. That's what I was looking for. I didn't really think we got any Trump supporters, although she may check out the program. Her name is Sandy, and if you check this out, hi, Sandy, how are you? You really were amazing. You woke me up to some of the reasons why somebody would support Trump, and who you were in general, right? So, let's talk about your uncle is a Trump supporter. Oh, wow. Well, my brother too. My brother is a Trump supporter, although he didn't have much to say since I didn't say anything about it yesterday, because my brother has seen Trump's picks for office, and I think my brother is very concerned about those picks. You know. Hey, JJ McKay, how are you doing? Hey, Joanne. Hi, guys. All right, so looking at this. Disclaimer, this show is not for children unless you're okay with your children hearing F-bombs and the truth. Okay? The cover card today was by Laura Livengood. If you want to share comments or anything with us, use the hashtag #AwakeWithJohn. The ground game is on in Corvallis, and that is what we're going to talk about right now, because that is the next thing. But everybody, I just want to say, first of all, because Marcus has been sitting here all quiet, say hi, Marcus. Marcus is awesome, and he is in here this morning with us, and he's going to share with us a German perspective on something when I'm done rambling about these things. But he puts up with my grumpy ass in the morning, so he deserves just a thank you there. So, thank you.
You're welcome, John. No problem at all.
All right, there we go. Now let's take a look at this. So, we have other posts. There we go. Good morning, revolutionaries. Here, we'll run the tweets that exist right there. There's not many of them. Thank you guys for tweeting. Hey, Jim. Okay. Ground game is on in Corvallis. Let me tell you about the amazing meeting in Corvallis, Oregon. And I've told like so many people now that it's gonna be weird. But I went to a meeting Friday night. Was it Friday night? Yes. I wasn't expecting anything. You guys know this. I'm just going to take a quick break here. You guys know the show, Mr. Robot? How many of you seen the show, Mr. Robot? You heard of the show? Marcus, you need to watch Mr. Robot. You would really appreciate the show.
I don't know it.
I identify with the character, and I think a lot of people identify with that character in a very general sense, in some specific ways as well. But I identify with that character a lot. And I only say that because I don't like to go out and be in public. When I do, it's really awkward and uncomfortable, and then I'll get in conversations. I can get in conversations, but it's just very weird. I don't like doing that. And I used to do it when I was drinking. I'm still an alcoholic, but it was very much easier to do when I was drunk. I was drunk. I didn't mind being in public, but now I'm really freaked out about it because I'm afraid that I'm going to say stupid shit like I did when I was drunk. It's just a weird thing that I go through. Anyway, I went to this meeting, and yes, Trump's uncle, Mr. Robot, is incredible. Yeah, figment of everybody's imagination. Yes. So I went to this thing Friday. Justin Bryce was there. He's the guy who invited me. He's the guy that showed up here, right? He's the Bernie delegate who's now a Benton. He's a member of the Benton Democratic Central Committee, right? That's what he's on. The Benton County Democratic Central Committee, because these Democratic committees are by county, right? And the size of your county determines all that stuff. So anyway, he invited me there, and there I met another guy named Charles. Charles ran for office against an incumbent that had been there forever and took 42% of the vote without even launching the campaign in time. He just said, I'm going to run. So he's going to run for county commissioner this next time, and we're going to support him, and I'm going to bring him on the channel, and we're going to help get him elected, right? Because we need to put people in the county commissioner's role so they could change a lot of the rules, decide who they make friends with, right? I think the county commissioner guys have something to do with the reason why Solar City can't work down here. So in order to change that, we just change out the county commissioner. That's how it works, right? If they won't listen, then we get rid of them. This is how it works everywhere. So it was amazing. I met this big long table. So big long table inside this little tavern called Cloud and Kelly's in Corvallis. And I was expecting a massive college scene because the college students are in there right now. And so I was expecting just a bunch of drunk college kids. And I was like, I don't want to go to this. It wasn't that at all. It was a bunch of really energetic Democrats, progressives, talking about their experiences, talking about the ground game. What's next? What do we do next? How do we move forward? Right? And from all ages, there were elders there, and I don't know how old they were, but they were definitely older than me. Okay, and they were talking about, I remember this going back in the 60s and 70s. And then there were young people there. Justin Bryce, 26. Right? And there were people there that hadn't even been there before. I just wanted to come here and find out what was going on. In the course of, I don't know what it was, an hour and a half, not only did I meet everybody there and feel solidarity, connected, but I found out that there's a theater right around the corner in Corvallis called the Majestic. And I know somebody posted a link to something that there's a public forum going on at the Majestic. But my understanding from one of the persons that I met at this Democrats meeting, who is connected with what's going on at the Majestic, is that they're looking for people to come in and use it. It's a facility. It holds 500 people. It's a renovated, old, beautiful theater from the late 1800s. And it's got a bunch of equipment in there that they bought, the city purchased and moved in there so that the citizens could use it. That's badass. Guess what we're going to be doing there? We are going to go there and we are going to create town halls. We're going to do live engagement broadcasts where we bring in our new candidates and we invite the incumbent. Right? Come on down. Oh, you're not going to show up? That's all right. We'll have a town hall without you and talk about why you're not here. Right? We're going to put them on the spot in front of the town. Ask them questions. We're going to figure out who the better candidate is, and we're going to force these incumbents to answer direct questions about the choices they have made as our representatives. That's what we're going to do. We're going to create an independent network right here in Corvallis to serve the hot spot of progressive movement that is down here in Southern Oregon. And we have a place to do that. And I'm going to find me some college volunteers, and everybody in the group that I was with is excited about it, looking forward to working together to make this happen. And every local politician that wants to run as a progressive knows that they have this platform, that they can go there. We can create a show. We can do a live event. That's what my resource represents now that it's connected with the ground game. That's what I've been looking for all along, really. I can't even tell you what we've gone through since day one to try to find a building and connect with the ground game. So that's pretty big. That's pretty monumental. I'll take a moment to step back and look over here at the comments. Guys, talking about Russia. I got nothing to say about Russia except that it's just more hilarious than ever that we're saying the Russians did it. Because, again, we're missing the point. It's not about who did it. Look at the content. Look at the content, right? It doesn't really matter who hacked who. We don't care. We don't really care. And quite frankly, CIA, you're probably just making shit up, you know? No one seemed to care when we said that the primary was rigged and hacked. Guys didn't seem to give a shit then. We don't give a shit now about whether our election was hacked, really. I don't want to see Trump get kicked out. I want to see him bring down this country so that we can unify. And there are a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way, that that's what this is. This is unification. Marcus, you were saying that earlier, right? It's just Trump's in there, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, from your perspective, how do you look at this? He's putting some pretty horrific people in office. What do you see?
You mean Trump's nominations, or what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, I mean his choices so far, what you see happening in America.
Yes.
Would you like to see him repealed? I guess if you had a choice, if we asked you, if we said, "Hey, Marcus, you choose. Do we keep Trump or do we put Hillary in?" What would you do right now?
The vote is done. There is no discussion about the vote.
All right.
Trump is becoming president, and I think it is not it is a great pick with Tillerson, because Tillerson he keeps our lines close. He keeps the troops together. Because it is not understandable that a guy like him can take over such an office. And okay, if Trump thinks he will do it, then okay, then we will check in very carefully, and I think it won't be to the best of Trump. And I think that Trump's voters will be very disappointed in the future about his policy, and this might be a game changer that people start to think, and that to get clear about what is really important.
I think you said it perfectly, and I saw it in here too. Who was it? Patricia McDermott. Yeah, Trump is keeping people awake, probably waking a lot of them up very abruptly as well. And I agree with that. Rex Tillerson as a choice pisses me off beyond belief. Right? But you're right. That's going to piss off a lot of other people too, and wake up a lot of people. I don't. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. As I said, if you think Hillary would be voted, would become president, the flow would go on. We would see the same corruption, the same bullshit as under Obama, who did nothing else, and I agree to Jimmy Dore, than W. Bush before. It would be the same shit, and we need Trump. America needs Trump to wake up, and this is perfect. It will be bitter, and it will be not beautiful. It will be not tremendous, but he is so important for the people to wake up. Finally,
I agree. I agree. And some great comments coming in on this too. Just back up a bit. Trump is an Arctic play for Exxon. Yeah, I mean that's the thing that's frightening here, is that Rex Tillerson is Exxon, right? Exxon, the company that knows that it has screwed the planet. Exxon, the #1 planetary rapist. Rex Tillerson is in charge of raping the planet right now. That's his job, to rape the planet. He is a murderer. He has murdered species. I'm talking about our Secretary of State. That's something that we'll talk about, is just the overall language. Not just me. Bernie Sanders continues to call Donald Trump a pathological liar. When in history have you heard anybody call the president or incoming anything in this country something like that and be okay with saying it? I want to call for Rex Tillerson's head right now on a pole because he should be in prison. He shouldn't be running anything in government. The man is a murderer. The man is a shit stain. But when he takes office, it may be that saying things like that will get me arrested, will get me put in jail, will get me silenced. That is no different than Nazi Germany. None. No different at all. And we are well on our way. We are well on our way, folks. When this regime takes office, we are looking at basically the evil empire. Jane Klebb said that on her post. The questions that Trump was trying to ask, the completely unethical, like you can't even do this, unconstitutional, asking the Energy Department, who in the Energy Department had worked on climate. And they refused to answer. The Energy Department there was an article in the Hill today, the Energy Department said, fuck you. Fuck you. We're not going to tell you who in our department. You're not going to start singling out people that you're going to eliminate because they worked on climate, saving the planet, you asshole. You know? It's just, sorry, go off for a second. It's just, Rex Tillerson is a threat to the planet, and now he's been put in the role. Everybody remember, when Obama was in office and Hillary was Secretary of State, her job was to do two things. Actually, one thing. Sell. Sell. That's what the Secretary of State does. They sell. That's what Donald Trump really wants to be. He just wants to sell things. Right? Hillary Clinton sold more weapons of war and more fracking, more fossil fuel interests around the world than any other Secretary of State ever in the history of anything. Kerry doesn't even come close. Right? So, now we're going to put Rex Tillerson, Exxon chief, in charge of the job of selling. What do you think Rex is going to sell? I bet you he's going to sell fossil fuels. Imagine that. I bet you Rex is going to sell weapons to everybody. You know why? Because weapons require fossil fuels. So, Rex Tillerson going to come in and outdo Hillary Clinton's sales work. That is scary because Hillary Clinton has the top numbers of all Secretary of Salesmen ever. Salespeople. I'm sorry. Let's be politically correct for Hillary. All right. So it should be frightening to see what happens. It'll be awesome to see the reaction of the global public as we tell Rex Tillerson to take his Exxon and shove it up his ass. Because I won't let Rex defile this state. I will do everything in my power to stop Rex from doing anything here. And I urge you all to do the same. Tell Rex to go fuck off with regard to his Exxon and building fossil fuels and weapons of war around the world, which is exactly what he and Trump intend to do. Right? Is keep this wheel of global arms trade. Where's Andrew Feinstein when I need him? Right? Politicians, they're like prostitutes, just more expensive, right? And weapons, they have an expiration date. You must sell them and move on. That was the opulence. Trump has it, right? Guys, remember that? Is Laura in here? Laura live and good. What are you doing? You're supposed to be enjoying the beach. We used your picture this morning, Laura. We did. Speaking of fossils, take Hillary, please. Nice. In the meantime, Germany unveils zero-emissions train that only emits steam. The world's first hydrail can travel almost 500 miles per day at speeds of 87 miles an hour. That's badass. Are you aware of that, Marcus?
I didn't read it so far, no. I gotta check it.
Let me tell you this, guys. Marcus lives in an advanced nation. Like, in the 50s, other countries would have said, John lives in America, an advanced nation. Now, I, an American, look at Marcus and say, Marcus lives in Germany, an advanced nation. Whereas we in America, kind of back in the old days, we're still dragging knuckles. Here's Marcus, lives in a country that's moving forward with green initiatives. I think that, I don't even know what your goals are, but you've upped your game on your goals to be emissions free and no combustion to engines, and it's just amazing. Mark, what else were we talking about this? Well, we were talking about legal issues, and Marcus was saying that he feels that he cannot get represented in his country well either unless he's got big bucks, right? That is a similarity.
It is always a matter of perspective. For me as a German, there's so much to criticize about my country. But from what I experienced during the last 1.5 years, being around together with you guys, supporting Bernie, this made me kind of helpless, and I would wish that the situation in USA would change as soon as possible in favor that there is reason arising again. Understanding for each other. If you keep on staying divided as you are right now, then it would cause a lot of stress for everyone,
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of your country. Even though you still do some weird things, you guys do some strange things. But you've repaired your relationship with YouTube, so that makes me happy. Yes. Yeah.
We did, yes.
And
finally, the jokes are over.
Yes, exactly. And all of my content doesn't say this has been blocked in one country, Germany. Which was all of our content. Germany had a hard time getting Bernie Sanders, from my understanding, and when we were doing rallies. And by the way, yeah, he's in Germany. What do you guys say? He's fine. He's fine in front of the camera. And yes, he probably could get closer.
Close enough?
Is that what you want? You want him closer or farther away? I was trying to figure out what you're trying to say there. Most Germans. Wow, you guys, do you see these comments happening here? It's very interesting statements here. EcoSutra saying most Germans hate the Northern Germans. What? That seems like a generalization. What's this about?
Northern Germans? Why? Why EcoSutra?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. Oh well. Mainstream news, you guys. We could talk about this a whole other. Mainstream media is dead. We're just waiting for that's a frightening story. Talking to my sister and her husband and where they get their news and what they're hearing and even though they make an effort to get their news from I listen to NPR and PBS. I'm like, well, both of those are now basically controlled by the same conglomerates, but I'm sure it's a little better news than CNN, right? But they're not. My sister, for being as liberal and progressive as she is, they're not looking at Democracy Now! Or TYT or any of the good, progressive, independent networks that are actually providing the truth. They're getting that narrative still from conglomerate media, and it's frightening. That's frightening. Hang on, moving through. And by the way, where did I see you up here? Chris Riles, 29. I love you too. And maybe we'll meet someday. You live in Vermont? Is that where you are? Thank you very much. What else we got here? You never realized how much you like the German accent. Me too, actually. Oh, and just like totally random, the guy boarding us yesterday, the Southwest Airlines guy taking our things to get on the plane in Denver, looked like Adam Sandler and sounded like Adam Sandler in the vampire movie. I don't know if he was really going for that, but I was just like, wow, dude. It's like, and it was kind of fun. So just going to play with that. It's cool. Even Oberman has sold out, really? It doesn't surprise me. These guys they either have to play the game with the current establishment and figure out a way to rewrite the narrative to make them not look like the pieces of shit that they are, or they have to come out and be honest. The moment they come out and be honest, they lose their jobs. And they have to go over to independent media. We've seen it with every single... and if there's independent people that are now spewing the establishment narrative, they're trying to get back in the circle. Right? They're trying to get their jobs back. That's basically what's going on. A great example of that would be Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck misses being in the spotlight, so Glenn Beck had a revelation, and now he's a different person, and Obama made him wake up, and maybe that happened, all right? But I doubt it. Glenn Beck is just a microphone personality who misses that fun and misses that ego trip, and so he decided to change his narrative, and now he'll spew whatever narrative he's got going on, but he's still just an establishment tool, right? Spewing a little bit over here or a little bit over here. But both flavors are establishment bullshit message. Right? That's what we fight. You know. Does the German guy know Claudia Stauber? Who? Do you, Candy? You seen this?
The German guy doesn't know her. But I will check it out right now. Who she is.
Yeah, I have not. I know that Keith Olbermann is on GQ and doing his thing. I have not checked it out. Ed Schultz, he hasn't sold out. To my understanding, is on RT. But even RT has their own narrative. I just prefer RT's narrative because it's very anti-American. It's more accurate, I would think, these days. Abby Martin, yes. Cenk Uygur. Personally, and I don't know anything about what the guy's going on. I think what he is trying to do is form a wedge of independent media within cable networks. Maybe he's having to capitulate a little bit on some of his values. I don't know. Okay, I know people are saying that he's sold out or whatnot. I just know the difficult position he's in when you grow an independent network to a certain place and you can't get your reach to get any bigger because you're on the internet. It's time to get on the big channels. It's time to be able to have that network presence. But that's locked down. You either play the game with those who own the pipelines or you don't get there. That's basically what he's dealing with right now. All right, so we'll see. You know, we'll see. It's he has to be smoking bear for her. Is that a thing? Please, God, tell me that's not a thing, smoking beer. Yes, Rick Perry I thought Rick Perry had been chosen already to lead the department that he wants to get rid of. Right? That's several. We've got the EPA guy who really wants to get rid of the EPA. We've got Rick Perry, who thought the Energy Department was one of those free government agencies that didn't need to exist, along with the Department of Education, by the way. We have the guy who doesn't even think that the urban housing and development thing should exist, who's going to run the urban housing and development. That's Ben Carson, who doesn't know. Ben Carson is just on drugs. The guy's like a walking acid trip. Cenk is only watched TYT. I like Jimmy Dore. I like Jimmy Dore a lot. I like Redacted Tonight. Lee Cam. Right? Jordan Cheriton does good work. There's a lot of Unicorn Riot's been out there. Uprising TVs is putting on good stuff. Democracy Now, right? I mean, Democracy Now, really, if you're going to, like, that's who I tell my dad to watch. Dad, go watch Democracy Now. That's what you miss. That's the journalism that you used to see in Walter Cronkite. It's right there with Juan Gonzalez and Amy Goodman, right, and all the other crew that I don't know their names of on Democracy Now. To me, that's fantastic. He's the human sloth. Ben Carson. Beautiful. That's nice. Hey, Paulie. How you doing? Hey, Rob. How you doing? All right. Kind of got sidetracked here. So we talked about ground game in Corvallis, and that's on Dad's birthday was badass. And DIA was kind of cool because I told you about that, the smoking thing. Let's talk about the live stream event that I failed to load the card for. Let's see if I can find the card right now. Hang on a second. Scott Galindez made this card. I was very impressed. Of course, I'm not finding it. That's all right. I know where I have it. I put it up over here. Here we go. I know where it is. Give me a second. We are looking at... Oh, no, you're there. There we go. This is our event, and Scott made that cover card. So, this is happening, and I put a link in the description of this live stream, guys. If you look in the description down there on the YouTube page, there is a link to Scott's article, which basically says Bernie's party. And Scott's going to tell you more about that in detail. On Secular Talk is a good show. The Humanist Report is a great show. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Metalhead. Thank you. I totally messed up what I was going to say there. Yeah, Tim Black, Ring of Fire. I like those guys. But join us in 29 hours for this. All right, that is Bernie Sanders and Keith Ellison. And let me tell you what's going on here. So Scott thinks that we're looking at a unification within the party, or a Bernification in the party, I think we should call it. That's really what this is. So what am I talking about here? We're talking about the fact that I'm gonna just sort of cover Scott's article. All right, there was and here we'll click over to it. So we've got this live stream event happening. This is coming from Our Revolution. It's got Bernie Sanders, Keith Ellison. It's going to happen tomorrow, right? Yeah, Wednesday. We're going live at 4:30 Pacific, so that'll be 7:30 Eastern. And Scott and I are going to do a pre-show, and who knows? Maybe Laurel will show up. Maybe Marcus will be around. That's pretty. That's late for you, huh? That's really late for you.
This will be after midnight.
Yeah.
I don't think I can make it.
Marcus won't be around, but hopefully we'll have Scott. I know we'll have Scott. All right. Now, the big deal about this event for us, and what I would like your help with, okay? So this is going to be broadcast on ourrevolution.com, and you guys can go there, and we're just grabbing that, and like we used to do with the Bernie rallies when we could find the feed, we're just going to recarry it. Why are we doing that? Couple reasons. I'm not trying to take volume away from Our Revolution, and the guys at Our Revolution don't give a shit. The idea is reach. We want more people to see it than ever. Well, I've got several channels that I can use to blast this out on, and so the goal is to just carry it and restream it. It used to be that networks did this. When the president made a really important speech, or when something big was happening in the news, all the networks covered it. And you could choose which network you wanted to watch and which commentary you wanted to watch. It doesn't happen so much anymore, because if one network's covering it, another network's like, I'm not going to split that ratings revenue with them. I'd rather do something else, right? So this is important. This is important to spread the message and help increase the reach of what we're doing. And I just want to amplify the good work of the folks at Our Revolution. All right, we're going to have our moderated conversation. That'll be PM, Fluffy Bunny. That's 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and that is tomorrow. And the other cool thing about this is that it's being pushed on reader-supported news. So this is the article on reader-supported news, Scott's article. They will be, this isn't it, but on the homepage of reader-supported news, they will embed the live stream. So we're actually finally partnering with them. Mark Ash with Reader Supported News, who's formerly one of the guys who started Truth Out with Scott Galindez, right? They broke off and formed Reader Supported News. And they've got a big fan base, high fan base if you happen to catch the show. And we're gonna talk that fan base. So we'll have our moderated chat, you guys in chat, and it seems like this may be the precursor to Bernie and maybe Keith, other people continuing rallies, going around the country, keeping that movement alive, waking up more Americans, because we need to rise. We need to rise and stop the regime that is about to take control of our country. Stop them in the ways that we can, and I mean that peacefully. Right? We need to rise and go do direct action. Stop the fossil fuel industry. Tell Wells Fargo we're not interested in having them opening up new stores if they're going to back fossil fuel interests. Right? There's so much ground game going on, and we need people like Bernie and Keith to be going around the country. And if that happens, we will go back into rally mode, and we will broadcast as many as we can and help stream with them and provide coverage and pre-show so that we can all talk about the issues and talk about the ground game that's going on. I'm very excited about all this. So, this is really awesome. I'm just looking at your comments, guys. I think Jill Stein has tried to recount your user ID. That's funny. Because you got knocked offline. Hey, Laura. I missed your comments as to why you're doing this and not enjoying Hawaii, but it's pretty early there, actually. You're 2 hours behind us, right? So it's just like 8 a.m. You should be running down to the hotel, get that nice breakfast. I liked Hawaii when I was there. It was nice. Howard Dean. Nice, Chris Riles, 29. I'm glad that ugly freak Howard Dean dropped out. What a fucktard. Which, by the way, that word, I've been told is perfectly acceptable, so I will continue to use it. And it's one of my favorites. Fucktard. So I will use that word. Anyway, let's talk about, Scott is going to talk about this more in depth. But I want to just give you a overview of why Scott's excited, why this is looking good. As he says, all of the signs I see lead me to believe that the political revolution is succeeding in its effort to transform the Democratic Party. Everything I'm seeing would say that too. All right? And I see very little and understand very little, but from what I saw Friday, I'm excited. And this is the note I didn't mention about Friday. I want you to think about this from a historical perspective. Friday, I, unemployed businessman / inventor builder guy, entrepreneur, showed up at a meeting in a tavern, a small town, with a very diverse group of progressive thinkers, talking about how they were going to transform their local community and then take it national. It was like, to me, all I could think about was all of those scenes that they show you about the American Revolution, or the original American Revolution, and Paul Revere and Benjamin Franklin and all these important people sitting around a tavern drinking a beer talking about how they're tired of taxes and no representation from the British government. And what are we going to do about it? We're going to take a direct action. We're going to dump some of their tea in the harbor. We're going to tar and feather the tax man, and we're going to send a message to the crown. And I felt like here we are, generations later, about to do the same. And it was amazing. I felt like a patriot. It was crazy. And I looked around at the table and I went, these people right here, these are the architects of the new democracy. And there are groups of these people everywhere in the United States. And not just the United States. There are groups of these people in Germany and in France and in Italy and everywhere. Because we're fighting a global regime. Every country has these people that prefer war and death and fossil fuels and greed over a peaceable world for everybody. We are all fighting that. It blew me away, and we all left just feeling, yes, we are empowered, we give each other strength, and we're going to do this thing, right? So, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. Just want to tell you that. Jeremy Corbyn is an angel. I'll go with that. I'm stuck listening to engineers and scientists, can't even listen to reporters anymore. Yeah, I don't listen to reporters unless we're talking independent media. Let's see. Raven is sleeping. Who's Raven? Is that Kitty? Is that Doggy? Who's Raven? Let me know. Yes, Angel, they are shitting bricks over losing viewers. Understand right now that there's a big shift. Right? The mainstream media isn't talking about. I was blown away by oh really, that's what's going on? From my sister, from everybody at this, just people that, it's amazing. Even liberals, progressives, don't go to the internet for their news. I don't understand that. I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, Sue, my sister, you're not looking at TYT, you're not looking at Democracy Now, you're content with PBS and NPR? Really? I mean, I was just blown away. Yeah, the other 48% that didn't vote, maybe we'll get them interested. Maybe they're on the internet. It's a scary time. It's a scary time. I continue to say this and continue to say this, but in America, in the early 1900s, we had an identical situation where corporate media was spewing lies, the government believing the lies, working with corporate media. Right? Independent news, muckrakers. They became the news. That's what we have. We have that same transitional change right now. We're waiting for, no offense to anybody that's old, we're waiting for the old to die We're waiting for the old of thought to die, who are indoctrinated into this old television, I believe whatever shit's coming out of this one-way pipe, right? And like my father said, John, I now get my news from CNN. He watches CNN for some reason. NPR says, my Friday group, which is a bunch of people that are awake, it's a diverse people, he goes and talks with a group of people, and you, meaning me. So his check sources for the bullshit coming out of mainstream media is a group of people connected to the ground game, and me. So I give him his internet, right? Everybody out there needs to go to their parents, needs to go to whoever it is you know that is not getting this source, and help them. Share a source with them. Hey, I think you'd really like Democracy Now! Hey, are you tired of listening to Wolf Blitzer talk nothing? Are you tired of the vapid bullshit we get out of mainstream media? Check out this show. Check out this show. Right? Send them one of the many, many options that we have that you like, that you think they'll appreciate. Jimmy Dore, if they like comedy, right? We have to open these people's eyes to real news. Because I agree with most of what we're doing in social media, which is calling out every MSM as fake news. Because they are fake news. They're actually entertainment news. They fought really hard for the right to call themselves that. And now they're like, well, I know we wanted to call ourselves entertainment news so that we could get out of lawsuits when we lie. But we're not the fake news. Come on. That's not us. That's that crap you guys get on Facebook. Yeah, bullshit. Every MSM right now, every journalist who refuses to speak truth, every journalist who doesn't have the courage to change the narrative to the truth, yeah, you're fake news. That's what you are. That includes you, Wolf, and Jake, and everybody else. Somebody told me that Jake's new show, or what was it? Who was it? Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. She gave Jake Tapper some award for being good news. I don't get it. I don't get it. Tomorrow, join us for this. This is going to be awesome. Finishing what Scott has to say, Scott thinks that, so, there's this group. The headquarters of the American Federation of Teachers is where this event will take place. Randy Weingarten, the union's president, is participating in the event, which is focusing on Congressman Ellison's vision for where he would lead the Democratic Party. Now, what's important about this is this group of people, this American Federation of Teachers, they were all in for Hillary. They were big time all in for Hillary, okay? What Scott thinks is that Larry Cohen, who was Bernie guy, right, still is a Bernie guy, and he's got power within the Democratic Party. Larry Cohen is in there on the DNC committee, right? He thinks Larry Cohen has managed to bring labor, this big labor group, over to the Bernie party. Labor is no longer in the Hillary party, they're in with the Bernie party. If that's happened, this is a massive unification, right? This means that Bernie's going to have some serious controlling power, and Keith Ellison is the leading runner for DNC chair. He's a burner. This is what we're talking about. This is when we were talking about before, how are we going to do this? How are we going to take over power? How is this going to happen? Oh my gosh, well, it looks like we're about to take over power in the DNC. That we're about to have the majority of power in the DNC. And that means we can start changing some rules much faster. And we can start making the DNC actually function for people instead of a bunch of rich fucks. So, this is huge. This is huge if this is happening. All right, so I'm very excited to hear what they have to say tomorrow. I'm very excited to hear what this Randy Weingarten has to say, along with everybody else. This is a big news, and it doesn't matter where you watch it. All right, just watch it wherever you can. All right, come join us for the conversation. Go over watch on ourrevolution.com. I guarantee you, it won't be carried by mainstream media, or if it is, they will spin the narrative. They will spin the narrative into something useless, into something frightening, you know. I will say this, anybody that is afraid of the word socialist at this point really needs to start being afraid of the word Nazi at this point. Because that's what we're putting into our government. And I know you want to talk about this, Marcus. Are you ready?
Yes, at a later point we will discuss this question. What are the similarities between the Nazi rise, Hitler in the 1930s, and what took Trump to office.
You don't want to do that now? You ready?
I'm ready. We can do this now. No problem at all. All right. Do you have the first slide?
I don't. I totally don't. I'm not even ready. Give me a second, because where'd you put him?
No problem.
Put him way down at the bottom. I see. All right. That's a great. Okay. So are there 2 slides or 3 slides here?
There are 2 slides, and
okay, great. All right. So here's the first. Here. Let's see. Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is what I already talked about, and why I did this is because I was not very happy about the comparisons between Trump and Hitler, and I know they're very common in the USA or often used, but I don't think they are comparable. I think the historical backgrounds are different, and I would like to present some facts about it, and hope that we can discuss the American part of this together in chat.
All right.
Okay. Yes, can you do the next one, please?
Absolutely.
All right. We will concentrate first on the right side, and I'll give you a short overview about what happened in Germany after the First War was lost. The situation was that nobody knew in Germany that the war was about to get lost. It was a shock when the message came that the army capitulated and the war is over and lost. And the people could not understand it here in Germany. It was based on disinformation by the generals, and even politicians didn't know what happened indeed in the war. And as I said, it was an immense shock, and it finally led to the Kaiser Friedrich II here in Germany. Germany was at that time an empire, and he had to leave and seek asylum in the Netherlands. So the empire was done. This was the next thing, and the Treaty of Versailles came, and the war parties blamed Germany for its sole guilt in World War I. I don't want to discuss this because historians are discussing this topic until today, and they not agree on one part of the story of the history, which is that Germany is guilty alone. There were many influences at that time. Okay, this is another question. Okay, the German Empire was done, and the Treaty of Versailles came, and Germany lost about 25% of its ground, and had horrendous reparations to pay, and this led to another shock that everybody was bankrupt indeed. It led to an inflation here in Germany, and the people went to work, and in the evening they came back with literally big bags with money in it, with 20 million Deutsche Mark, Reichsmark, or even more, and it was not worth the paper printed on it, and you had to pay one number is you had to pay 1 billion Reichsmark for 1 kilogram salt, for example. And you can imagine that the people were very in great despair, and they didn't get what's going on right now, because this came all together: the lost war, the end of the empire, the Treaty of Versailles, and the war guilt and reparations. And then there came the stab in the back brief, which was a blatant lie, that the war was lost by the people at home, by the Social Democrats, and this accusation was made mainly by the conservative powers here in Germany, or the militarists, and this led to a split in the society, and there was the left side and the right side fighting against each other, and it led to a revolution here in November, and finally the Weimar Republic was announced after it was declared after Friedrich II went to the Netherlands, and this was a democratic system. It was the attempt to bring democracy to Germany, and unfortunately, it only took until 1933, and it was ended again. The thing was the last thing which made the Weimar Republic fail came from the USA, and it was the Black Friday. And this caused 6 million job losses here in Germany. And if you imagine that each employee had to care for 4 or 5 family members, you can imagine that from 60 million Germans, 30 million were poor, bankrupt. There was nothing at all. And all this led finally to Hitler's takeover of the power in Germany, and from all what I said, and from all the reasons which led to him, he was the strong man the Germans wanted. They could not accept the defeat in World War I. There were revenge thoughts, and of course there was a blaming of Hitler of minorities, and in this case it was the Jews. And it was already written from Hitler in the late 1920s when he was arrested, and everything was clear. He wrote it all in his book Mein Kampf, what he intended to do, and nobody could say we didn't know about it, because everyone here in Germany had to get this book, and for married couples it was given them at their wedding day. Most of the Germans ironically said, I never read it.
Interesting. All right, hang on. Let's take a break here. Hang on. Let's take a break.
Yeah, okay.
You don't get to fly through all of your information in one shot again, like we did last time, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
You get to take a break and answer some goddamn questions. Okay.
Right.
So I want to go back and just, most of the stuff is pretty common information actually, and most of the stuff is taught pretty commonly in American school books about all of these things you're listing here. Like, yep, we knew that. Yep, we knew that. Now, some of the things that I wasn't aware of that they definitely don't teach. And I want to clarify. The Weimar Republic sounded to me like a good thing. Was it?
Indeed, it was. Indeed, the Weimar Republic, our Bundesrepublik Deutschland is based on the Weimar Republic, and it is called Weimar Republic because the situation in Berlin was so explosive that they said, no, we go to Weimar. And why Weimar? Because it was the place where Goethe was at home, and it was the city or the region of arts. And they wanted to have a humanistic spirit behind this, and they wanted to become a real democracy.
Wow! This back in 1918. This is right after World War I, right after Germany got their asses handed to them. And yes, I agree with you on the history of World War I. We probably started that just for regime change or fun. I doubt it was, really what they said it was. But so you guys created this beautiful democracy, but this happened right during the time where the Great Depression occurred. And I'm guessing, I see how we've fallen here. It says global economic crisis, Black Friday. Right. That's. I know you're going to tell me there's a lot of differences here, but we had the same massive recession fall, right?
Yes. What the recession concerns, you are right. But the USA was no empire in the classical sense, like Germany was. You got to imagine, you are living in Germany, and you are used to monarchy here in Germany, and from one day to the other, and you get only news that everything is great, the German win is near, and then from one day to the other, you get told, no, the war is over, we lost, and we have to pay horrendous reparations, and have to give parts of our country away. This was so humiliating for the people at that time. This was always in their minds, and said, no, this was unfair, and why are we only guilty? This is something like a conspiracy against Germany. This was in the minds of the people.
So
in the Weimar Republic.
It's amazing, because I hear that, and I think, blue-collar America was put in that same position. Like, we got nothing. We get nothing. We get no respect. We do all the work. We thought things were going to be great, and they're not. Right? So I'm just want to lay that out there, because every time I see something like that, to me, that relates to the same things. You know, but I will agree, mainstream media was not perpetuating a myth to some extent, but you guys, like, you went from one end to the other. It's like winning the war to, oh, we lost it, now we owe everything. Right? That's pretty shocking. Imagine if America were told that. Like, it took us years to go from we're the greatest country on earth to maybe we're not. But if you guys were told that overnight,
yes. And then the monarchy collapses, and a new democracy arises with all the right and left wings, and there was the Social Democrats, the communists, and the militarists. Later, it was the Nazis, and it was the big cities. It was in parts. It was civil war.
Right, yeah, and let's remember that at this time. So all of this, I just want to say that all of what Marcus has just described, everybody, I know your job here was to contrast. You were going to contrast differences, and maybe you're going to go into this on your side. But I just want to point something out very, very big here. We're looking at a national low self-esteem. Okay, Germany had no self-esteem as a nation, as a people. They had no solidarity. They had no idea. Like, holy shit, we got nothing. We're nothing. We're shit. Right? America is in that same place today, in a perfect place for some asshat to come in and nationalize. Right? That's what's going on. We're like, we're shit. We suck. Wait, what a minute. You're telling us we can be great again? Remember in the 30s, everybody, this is at the same period of time, and we have this coming again. We have this happening again. Remember, this is the same period of time where American scientists, French scientists, German scientists, scientists around the world were saying eugenics is a good idea. Eugenics is great. Let's make everybody perfect. We can do that. How do we decide what's perfect, though? I don't know. But we're scientists, and we know that we can fuck with genetics, so we should be doing that. Okay? There were many prominent American scientists that thought eugenics was great. Eugenics is basically what Hitler wanted to do and tried to accomplish through murdering a whole bunch of people. The creation of a master race. Okay? Well, Americans have believed that we're the goddamn master race for 200 plus years. White people, white males have believed that we are the master damn race since we came out of somebody's womb. So, I just want to go there. Anyway, Marcus, go back to this. I just wanted to put some...
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is Hitler never considered Americans to be our enemies.
Nope.
No, he was shocked when the USA decided to go in this war. Exactly.
Yeah. It's nobody talks about that. When you read the history of America in the history books, you guys know this. Well, I didn't grow up with any of that information. Okay, my American history too. Okay, which covers the details of American history when you're in American public high school. American history too doesn't say anything about how Americans were interested in eugenics. It just says America saw that Nazi Germany was doing something horrible, and we rose up with all our might to destroy it. Which is also not the truth. We didn't want to get involved in the war. They had to beg us to get involved in the war. Right? We were like, nope, not our problem, not our problem, not our problem, not our problem. We're going to spend our money on us. We're going to do our own eugenics. We're going to make America great over here. That was us. All right? We had our own problems going on. But we rewrote the history books to say that America was great, and we're always great, and we were always great to everybody, and then we came in and saved the world from Hitler, which is a bunch of shit. I found out later on in life. What else do you want to say about this? Underestimation of Hitler. Are we on there, Marcus?
Yes, this is one important point in this aspect, because when Hitler took power, it happened on behalf of the government under von Papen and Hindenburg, and they offered him participation in the government with the idea to get him under control and to get him separated from the Nazi movement. But as we know, this failed badly, and this this is why I took it and put it in brackets, the underestimation of Trump on the left side, because we still don't know. Do we underestimate Trump, or do we not? And this will history show in the end.
Right. I think we're in a better position right now than we were before in terms of I think we're already doing better. You know what I mean? Than we were.
Yeah.
I think we're already recognizing. I'm missing this all up. Where'd you go? I got you on screen. I'm trying to switch cameras. I got it all fucked up. There we go. Bing. That's where it is. We're already better because I don't think people were talking about Hitler like this as openly, right? Back then, they didn't have social media, right? So, there's a global awareness of Trump. I don't think there was a global awareness of Hitler. Maybe there was, but it wasn't able to reach everybody, right? Because of just communication, right? So, do we have? Let's see. Before we move on next, do we have any questions? Yeah, Manifest Destiny, Tammy. Let's take a look at the chat and see if there's anybody have any questions or talking about this. That's it. So Laura Livengood, I just want to. You guys are talking about Henry Ford. You guys are talking about American interest in Nazi Germany. Laura Livengood just watched, and she posted to me the Untold History of the United States of America by Oliver Stone. Now, if you're an establishment tool, you're going to look at that and go, "Well, this is a one-sided view with just a bunch of bullshit from Oliver Stone talking liberal crap." If you are awake, you realize this is the history of America that we didn't get told. This is what we really did. We've been changing regimes since day one. We've been fucking with shit. And if you want to know why most wars happen, it's the United States of America. It's really true. Henry Ford. The reason I bring that up is because Henry Ford built weapons of war for Nazi Germany, and a lot of American companies actually continue to provide Germany with resources and manufacturing because they had factories in Germany before the war, and those factories were just converted. Now, it's interesting. I was reading up more details on this because the initial news that I saw just said Henry Ford built Nazi war machines during World War II for the Nazis, and the American government let him do that. Yes, this is the truth. Okay. Now, what Ford and Co. say, and they've worked a long time to bury all the evidence of this shit. What Ford and Co. say is that they were not in control of those factories during the war, and so therefore they really couldn't tell what was going on. And if those factories were converted to make tanks and planes and other things, not our, But what they don't say is that, and we received monetary, we were paid, we get money. It wasn't, nationalized. Like, this was deals. There was resources coming in. There was money being exchanged. There was business going on because there's big, big money and big, big business in war. And so if you are not in the war business, you're not really making the big money. But Henry Ford, he was in the war business. Just like a lot of other businessmen who really have no regard for life. They just think money and power and profit is what matters at the expense of whatever. You, me, doesn't matter. And these are the people that I have no problem removing from this planet by whatever means necessary. Whatever means. Right? And that includes Rex Tillerson, planet rapist. Our next Secretary of State, Rex. Rape Tillerson. Let's call him Rape Tillerson. I like that. That's a much better name for him. Rape Tillerson. Thank God we have history to learn from. We have history to learn from. Our government officials currently are not interested in, and mainstream media has never presented history as a learning lesson. Ever. Mainstream media does the opposite. We don't look at history because if we look at history, we can actually see a pattern of stupidity. They don't do that. It's just the next war, the next thing, the next event. Never go back and look. They don't ever do that, Coca-Cola, Fanta, and Nazi Germany. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Fanta. Fanta is a Nazi, Nazi thing.
Yeah. Skynet. I think so. E-Corp and Mr. Robot is totally Google, right? and could be Exxon, Google, I don't know. But E Corp just like represents every big ugly company. I love that. We need a Skynet. I want Elon Musk to build the good Skynet. there'll be Empire and Rebel Alliance internet resources very soon. I'm just looking at comments, guys. Number 9. What are you guys talking? Trump's your uncle. You're funny. I'm gonna have to. This. You're funny. Do you want to come on? Do you have a comedy bit? Would you like to come on and do a comedy bit? I think that would be awesome. I'd love to have somebody come on and do political satire, like for real. So if you're out there and you want to do that, like Lee Camp's got his own show and he's big time, so he wouldn't want to come on here. But if you're interested, Trump's your uncle. I'd love to have you come on. Let me know. Fred Koch built power stations and systems for Hitler and Stalin. Is he like the older, like the grandpa of the Koch brothers? That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if you go back to like Koch helped Satan. Sure he did. Grooming Chelsea for future election. They're funny. Weimar hyperinflation coming to the U.S. That's an interesting statement. I know we got to get back to your. Do you want to continue on your thing? We got to continue on it, but that's an interesting question. Do you think the hyperinflation is on the way here? I'm asking you, Marcus.
This is a very good question. From what I'm certain is I don't think that the euro here in Europe will stay our currency. And I think if the euro falls, there are a lot of other currencies influenced, and it is very difficult to say what will really happen. But I don't believe in the currencies anymore, because there's so much artificial money around in the internet and everywhere. I think we have two currencies. We have one currency is made by man's work, and one is gets artificial multiplicated without any work behind it. And I think this discredits the currency system.
I agree. I think the U.S. dollar is not going to survive. But if the war machine and the fossil fuel machine keeps going,
of course,
that's all we need. And it looks like we've got some serious wars building up. I saw one comment by somebody who said that everything that we're seeing right now looks like the exact same kind of bullshit buildup we saw for the Iraqi war. This is very, very similar to the same kind of crap. Looking for a reason to go to war. Is it Russia? Are we going to war with Russia? Is that who it is? Because they did it? If that happens, I bet it's a staged thing. I bet they're basically working out this scenario with Putin right now. You get to blow up these things. We'll blow up these things. You go over there. We'll go over here. Everybody make a lot of money. We'll kill a bunch of people. It'll be good. That's basically how I think our government functions. If Germany pulls out of the euro, everyone else will too, in my opinion, says Metalhead. You think that's true?
I don't think that Germany will be the first one. I think it will. The economy will make it fall, not the country's decision.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So let's. I kind of derailed you on your conversation here, but why Trump takes over? You want to go down that? Are we there? Or do we have more to talk about on the Hitler side of things?
We have to address to the left side now, and this is the points I collected, and you are free to add your thoughts, but I think these are the most important aspects why Trump will become the next president, and it is like many years before. It's the economy is stupid, and the economy doesn't work anymore for the people. I'm feeling I'm speaking like Bernie Sanders, but it's a fact. And the 3 points: the infrastructure is ruined, and the economy doesn't work. The globalization threats working society and a lot of families. And as nothing changed, I think. We can see it from the Republicans earlier and now from the Democrats. The people lost hope in the party system, and you only have two parties which you can elect in the end, unfortunately. And if both parties fail, okay, then people will look for an alternative, and this alternative in this case was Trump, right? And
terrible alternative.
yes, I agree, but what can you vote for? What could a normal guy, a normal American who doesn't like Trump vote for? Jill Stein didn't make it, and unfortunately, she even didn't get 5%. Though the candidates were Clinton and Trump.
Right.
This is terrible, in my opinion. Because if there was one election from which a third party could take profit from, I think it was this, and this didn't happen.
No, there was never a chance. Anybody who thought there was never a chance at Jill Stein. Jill Stein, and everybody who was screaming that top of their lungs just needed to look at what happened with Bernie. I don't know why people kept thinking that it was going to be different.
Yeah. And as I noted down, I got to see in one program. I got to see my sheet. Thank you. Okay. And as you can see, the corrupt political system in the Democrats, we experience it live from day to day, and it left me speechless, and it left you in despair. And this is another reason. And Trump, he promised to end interventions abroad, and I think this is a good idea. It is welcomed by many of you, and this is another aspect. And if you see the mainstream media coverage, we don't have to talk here. We don't have to talk about this because we did it so often, and we know what's going on with the mainstream media, as I call them. It is a fact, and people, as long as people kept stupid with the mainstream media, it is difficult. Another reason is Hillary Clinton itself, of course, and this is not worth to go into the details. We all in chat, and we all who watch this show know about her, and that she was the worst candidate to put in the race. And the last point, the racism, I think this is not one of the main reasons. I think racism is an answer, is a result of all the failing economy, the infrastructure, and the globalization problems. It is the easiest way to blame another minority.
Yep, sure is.
And I don't think that racism is in the genes, in the DNA. I think Tina Turner said it a couple of days ago. I don't think this. I don't think racism is always a result, an answer to unsolved questions.
Right. Racism is something that is learned, something that is taught by listening to a narrative, and that narrative has definitely been elevated, amplified by mainstream media. They amplified the message of racism for Trump. In Hitler's rise, when if I recall, but I mean, you know better than I do, but from my reading, right, there were lots of independent media before 1933. In 1933, when Hitler took over the party, they quickly eliminated the independent media because they had nothing kind to say about Hitler. He took over control of the newspapers, and then the narrative became what it was. Today in America, he already has the propaganda machine. Right? That's very different. The propaganda machine is there, it's solid, it exists, and we're waiting to see which way where are they going with this? They're trying to discredit him, but if he ends up being in office, I bet you anything that you will see them start to just speak his language, whatever it is, whatever the narrative is. They're just going to run with it because they don't want to lose their jobs, and they don't want to get shut out, and they're going to become just like whoever was running media in Nazi Germany. It's like, well, I'm here, I'm telling them what they want to say. Really not a journalist anymore. I'm just spewing propaganda, but I can feed my family, and I'm not going to get shot. Right?
Yes, indeed.
And those of you who don't think that we are at that place, You are very wrong. Right? I mean, he can't just have people shot yet. But he's going to work on that. He's already interested in removing our freedom to burn a flag. Those of you who think the flag is something special, fuck you. The flag is a piece of cloth, a symbol that I'd wipe my ass with in a moment. It means nothing to me. It means nothing to humanity. It means nothing in the history of human beings. It means nothing to Mother Earth. It means nothing to Native Americans. It means nothing to anybody. It's a stupid symbol of white male arrogance. Democracy is not a flag. Democracy is people joining together to be able to have the freedom to say what they want and come to a consensus. And if I can't burn a flag or express my freedom, then we have lost the democracy completely. Donald Trump wants to make that illegal. Hillary Clinton wanted to make that illegal. She really wasn't that far off from Trump. She really wasn't, folks. Okay? She just, a lighter version, not as horrific, a little more seasoned in how to bullshit. I never said this. I was going to talk about this plane trip, but actually, before we talk about the plane ride, because this ties into the Trump thing, what else do you want to say about this? All of these things are very interesting. I see. To me, there's more correlation than separation. Where do you see the big differences here, Marcus?
I see the differences that the German population, the German society was totally on the ground and completely shocked and without any hope for the future. There was nothing left at all. I can see that there are similarities, and but we will see how it will develop. We will see what Trump will do in the end, and then we can see how things are really similar or how it will differ. There are some what the economy concerns, etc. These things are similar with the German situation. Maybe not that drastic as the German experience, but bad enough,
Agreed. It's scary either way. I think we have the advantage this time of having caught it, of being aware. I want to comment on something really quick that Michael Stapleton said. You say your ancestors' blood colors that flag. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's ancestors who did anything, but they didn't do it for the flag. Right? You didn't do it for a symbol. You did it for people. You did it for a nation. Right? And it really didn't matter what the flag was at the time or is. I've got ancestors on my father's side, ancestors that fought in the Revolutionary War. And then actually were one of the first soldiers to file a complaint against the newly formed United States government because he wasn't getting his pension pay as an American troop. They fucked a lot of our country. In the first war, didn't pay troop pensions. So one of my relatives who fought for the revolution went and filed a petition against the United States government, had to do a lawsuit so they could get their pension. And then in the Civil War, I actually had family that fought on both sides. So I'm well aware of the cost of this. My dad served, my brother served. Serving the government, serving the people does not mean you served the flag. So I just want to, if your ancestors shed blood, they shed blood for people. They shed blood, and that's horrific, and it's terrible. Right? But I disagree that it has anything to do at all whatsoever with the flag. Why demean the effort and assign it to a shit symbol? Why? Right? What they did for people. What they did for humanity. What they did because it was the right thing to do. Or so they believed. Right? Let's honor them. Let's honor them the way they should be, not honor them by talking about a flag. Anyway. It's not about a fucking flag. It's not. Most vets got land from serving. Really? I didn't know about that. Most vets got land. For serving where? Oh, you mean in the Revolutionary War? I guess you're going back there. We had farmland before the war because my father's family was one of those rich, white, privileged families that actually came over on a boat. So we had farm family. Interesting, though, that Solomon Ellis in the 1850s, there's this interesting, because we've been tracking the history on Ancestry.com. You see Solomon Ellis has some servants, right? He had slaves, because everybody had slaves. It was 1850. We owned a farm somewhere in North Carolina, I believe. But what you see as you get closer to the war is those slaves are gone. And because every time they do a census, they have to list who's in a family. So all of a sudden, his family goes from not having kids to all of a sudden there's all these kids, but there's no more servants listed because they actually have to list the servants. So it looks like what they did, and this was common actually, was sympathizers in the North would change their registries and just list those the slaves that they had as family members. And that was different. That helped protect them. And we saw that on our registry. It was very weird. I'm like, wait a minute, we went from here to here. What happened to these people? These people left. These people showed up. He didn't just all of a sudden have 3 kids. You know? So I found that very, very bizarre. You go back and look at this. I'm not saying that's right. I mean, my God, it's horrific. My family had slaves. It's horrible. All right? They did. It's just interesting to see where they went and how sides were broken up and where family went over here, whether it was South Carolina and North Carolina, and how all that shit went down. Like, I'd never known about any of that, you know. And you don't think it affects you. You don't think it will affect you, but it does. It makes you think about your history and your family history and what you've done. And my dad's 75th party was that's what it was about. It was watching my dad be recognized by the community and his friends as somebody who had been giving to the community for a long time. And I hope that when I'm his age, that the same happens for me. I hope that I have given enough back. That's the greatest gift, is to have people say, thanks. You know? It was cool. I know, I'm going on all over the goddamn place talking about this, that, and the other thing. Your uncle got farmland in Washington State after World War II? Really? Interesting. But Pasco, Washington, which is a hellhole. All right. California and the West Coast could easily survive economically. They could. That's talked about all the time. I seriously doubt ever that we will see those states secede from the nation, although now that I've said it, it'll probably happen because all sorts of crazy shit been going on lately. And somebody else, it was Patricia, earlier said that you thought Iran will be the next war. Right? It doesn't really matter what country they pick, does it? Right. It seems that they found a way to just go to perpetual war without actually being at war. I mean, look at Syria right now. There are ground troops. There are U.S. soldiers being killed on the ground, but we're not at war. Right. We're supporting other people at war. We're co-signers. So what we are, you know. Of course. Yeah. Tammy, it's false patriotism, John. They lie and send our people out to die in foreign wars for oil, and it's about a damn flag? Right, yeah, it's not. Thanks, Patricia. You were joking. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a lot of people make statements that I don't catch the sarcasm. I really, really apologize for that. I'm not doing good with the sarcasm these days. Yeah, troops, you're actually dying because we're greedy. Yes, Angel, that's exactly. You're dying because of our greed. It's horrific to say. They do drill off the coast of California. Yes, they have. Apparently, they found some massive new oil reserves somewhere, several, that are in some key places. I didn't know that Colorado now, not just the place they were fracking in Colorado before, but all along the road from like Littleton all the way up to Fort Collins and that area, that whole corridor is just frack city. It's gross. Looks disgusting. No sane nation would continue to use fossil fuels. If the corruption is the only reason we continue to use them. It's so obvious, so evident. Iran is not going to be an easy target. Iran has an air force and a navy. Very true. All right, where are we at on our list of things here? Let's see. And by the way, thank you for that presentation, Marcus. I like that. It's a lot of good discussion points on Germany. And something I didn't even know about the Weimar Republic. I had no idea that it was actually a good thing. You know?
Yes, it was. Yes.
American history books make it sound like Germany was just kind of in, nothing purgatory until Hitler came around and made everything better, which is so not the truth, But that's how it's presented to Americans. Germany had a big. It goes like this. It goes German recession, inflation, Hitler. That's basically, it goes lost the war, inflation, recession, Hitler. we missed this whole period of had a good government. I mean,
so I'm just not sure what to do. Elusive.
I love the way we want it.
All this together with a little bit of humiliation and hurt feelings, and but yes, the main reasons, as we experienced from the Black Friday, it was the cream on the cake, and this brought everything to fall.
Yes, it really did. And we're just take a breath. It's like 10:44.
I could be the perfect
Talked about a lot of shit today. The overall thing here, guys, is that I think we're starting to get over, and I heard this at the Democratic meeting on Friday, that a lot of people are starting to get over their depression, get over their sinking feeling from the election, right? We're starting to. It's like when you get shot, when somebody dies, or there's a plane crash and you knew people on it. Like, it's traumatic shock. That's what we just had. Like a complete failure of our election process, complete failure of government. American people waking up to realize that there's a lot of bullshit being thrown, and it's being thrown by the people that we used to trust, or that we're supposed to trust. And now nobody knows what the fuck to trust. I don't care that the Russians hacked or rigged our elections. I cared about the rigging and the hacking that was going on in the primary. But nobody cared about those. Nobody cared about that except for us, the people. But the government didn't give a fuck. They were the ones doing it. And now they want us to give a fuck about this. No. I don't care. Hang on a second. What does this say? John, do you know of any land for sale you want to work on building an eco-village out by us? Oh, you want to buy a bunch of land? There's tons of land out here that's just dirt cheap. In the beautiful Willamette Valley where I am, if you go to a town, like if you go just a little further east, there's towns around here like Philomath, where you can buy huge spreads of farmland or whatever for just nothing. It's amazing. The big wave of cannabis and pot and tech and all that stuff is still up in Portland. It's moving its way south. And eventually that whole corridor between Portland and Salem will be filled, and then from Salem all the way down to Eugene will be filled. But we're not there yet, right? So we're in this little pocket of beauty where you can afford shit down here. If you want to survive climate change and you don't live in one of those nice countries like Germany, get on over here to where we are on the West Coast. Seriously. Tricia says, thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Marcus, for that.
Thank you.
We should watch what Obama does on New Year's Eve. He signed the National Defense Authorization Act at midnight New Year's Eve a few years ago. Yeah, I got no faith in Obama to do anything good. None whatsoever. The man's a liar. The man's been lying to us for a long time. I'm pissed off at him, and I'm pissed off at his total, bend over when he walked. He just walked into White House and bent over. Just totally abandoned the people, and we abandoned him too. Don't get me wrong, we abandoned him too. We weren't awake. Right? We thought, we did our job, we gave him money, and we voted. Now I'm going to go back to watching TV. That's what we did. Right? We didn't keep organizing. We didn't stop Obama when he did things that we were like, wait a minute. You said you weren't going to do that. We didn't help him when there was pressure from when he couldn't get anything done with the GOP. We weren't out there calling those Congress people. We weren't out there screaming in their face. We weren't out there giving public pressure saying we don't want this shit. We just went back to watching TV. Ryan Seacrest, right? And that's so it's our fault. This time we're smarter. This time we're going to do something different. He did. He did fold. Obama folded, and so did we. We failed to understand what our next step was with government. You want to change government? Remember all that hope and change? Hope and change doesn't happen by just hoping it changes. That's not what he meant. He didn't say, let's hope it changes. that's you don't elect somebody and go sit down and go, I sure hope things change. I just put him in office and gave him $50. I sure hope things change. Yeah. We now know that to make that change, we got to put him in office, and we got to put Justin Bryce in office, and we put Chad Lupke's in office, and we got to put Janine Calkin in office. If we want shit to change, we got to put people in office that actually give a shit about making change. Because just hoping that it's going to happen, that's what we just did. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. You know? It didn't happen. What did you say, Angel? Get on my knees and pray we don't get fooled again. Yeah, no kidding. Very true, very true. Alright, I had a few more things on the list. So we're almost out of here. We talked about Dad's birthday. Denver International Airport, which is very cool just because. Bernie and Keith live stream. We talked about super criminal. Keith Tillerson as Secretary of State. We talked about, or not, yeah, what's his name? Rape Tillerson. That's what we're going to call him. Rape Tillerson. And the honesty of social media, though, was something I wanted to talk about really quick. We kind of talked about the rise of Twitter already, but the rise of social media, the honesty of it. We talked about this briefly, but it's amazing right now. I was trying to explain to my dad, like, the conversation that is happening between senators, between representatives, between passionate people, the words that are being used, the rawness, the conversation, like, this didn't exist before. This conversation about politics, this raw, transparent, this is how I feel. Nina Turner says something. Bernie Sanders says something. You've got all these big names, big people in politics that are saying things. It's amazing. They don't have the mainstream media outlet to use, or not all of them do. But we have this massive voice on the internet. And it's powerful. It's very, very powerful. And if there's one thing that gives me hope that things will change, it's the fact that I see people engaged in conversation, right? I see people opening their eyes in social going, well, I didn't think about that. Or when somebody says, that's bullshit, show me proof, and a link is dropped, right? It's amazing. This conversation about the global issues that we face didn't exist on the internet, really, when Obama ran. We weren't talking about it like this. We weren't calling our president a pathological liar, our future president. We weren't calling out the horrible people being put in government. We weren't putting that social pressure, that global social pressure. It's a beautiful thing, and if you do anything at all, be on social media, be a part of that conversation, because that is where we are going to unify globally as a species. It's not going to be through mainstream media's one-way conversation with a narrative that's complete bullshit. It's going to be in social media with a raw, honest, transparent conversation like we know how to have. And our government is learning that they don't control that conversation. Right? That's where our power lies. I love what I'm seeing out there. I'm just reading you guys' comments. The rise of Twitter, which I saw, there's a beautiful little image somebody put on that. I thought that was beautiful. We have that happening, and we have to either stay awake and fight it and beat it, or we're going to lose this country. We're going to lose this country to a giant dictatorship that is just, it's insane what they're going to do. We will not survive the next 10 years with Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State. We will not survive the next 4 years with Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State. Right? We have to make some serious changes really fast. We have to tell the fossil fuel industry to go fuck themselves. We need to be done with fossil fuels. Here's something I was thinking of. And this has to do with my sister and her husband. He works in a financial industry, and he deals with fossil fuels. And I'm not even going to get into the implications there, but if you work with a corporation, if you are lucky enough in today's America to be working in a corporation that offers you any kind of a retirement fund or a 401k, a pension, anything like that, I would get together with your like-minded progressives at your company and demand that they divest their mutual funds, your pension funds, from fossil fuels. $5 trillion has been divested from fossil fuels this year. We need to pull all the money out. But I listened to a conversation about somebody who manages money in that field going, well, it's a great time to be buying and selling in fossil fuel. Why would you perpetuate that shit? And that's what I said. I said, your children will not survive the next 10 years. The beautiful kids that I look at, the beautiful kids I just hugged, will be dead. You will be dead. You're younger than me. And you're talking about how buying and selling of fossil fuels is good right now, and how fracking isn't as bad as they say it is. You're indoctrinated. You're saying the same shit. I couldn't believe I was hearing this out of a liberal. Because they're embedded in the industry. They work in the industry, and it pays their wage. It's insanity. If somebody told me that doing this right here, that every time I go live, I was killing a child somewhere, I would stop doing this. You know? They said, John, every time you go on, I watch a child catch flame over in my country of Argentina. Here, I'll show you video of it. If we knew that we were doing something horrible, and we had proof that we were doing something horrible, why would we continue to do that? I don't get it. Anyway. Moving on. Just had to say that. We are going into a different time. We are going into a different time, and I'm just going to refer back to Jane Klebb, because it's not funny. It's actually not funny what she said. What she said was meant in all seriousness. Right? And that is, are you Empire or Rebel Alliance? What side are you on? Are you on the side of humanity? Are you on the side of the planet? Are you on the side of peace? Or are you on the side of war? Fossil fuels, greed, death, destruction. That's exactly what we have to choose from today. A very difficult path with the Rebel Alliance to save this planet and all on it. Or an easier path. Join the Empire. Get some power. Have fun killing people. Those are your two choices right now. That's the choice for all humanity. If you work in an industry supporting the death of the planet, you have some serious choices to make. From the guy that pumps gas to the CEO, Rex. We know where Rex stands. You know? So, that is where we are at. Boycott everything except... I know. And then we talked about boycotting this, boycotting on that. And it's all part of what we need to do. We're organizing. I know there's an injustice boycott going on right now. Sean King had organized that. Be a part of it. Whatever it is, be a part of your ground game. Because the one thing I can tell you is that there's positions of power available. And that they need people. People that are willing to stand up and speak. And that's all it takes. Get in there. Get in there and become powerful in your community. Take back what's been stolen from you so that we can rise united against Trump and his gang of thugs. Because that is exactly what we have to do. I will see you guys Wednesday, tomorrow, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We're going to start with a pre-show. It's going to be broadcast on ourrevolution.com, so go there if you want to watch it there. We're going to be carrying it here on politicalrevolution.tv. I may even try to get a Facebook stream out. We'll see about that. Marcus is going to be sleeping, right, Marcus?
I hope that I will be sleeping at that time, yes, but I will sure watch it and the next day.
Awesome. And that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, everybody. We've got exciting things happening. We've got really exciting things happening, right? And we need to focus on those. We've got scary shit happening too, right? But I'm excited. Scott's excited, right? And after tomorrow, I think we're all going to be a little more excited about what's going on. We've regrouped, we've re-energized, we've got a planet to save. Get going. Go. See the thing? Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. This has been a great conversation. And yes, we will have a show tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, Awake with John. Marcus, goodbye, my friend.
Yes, I don't know if I can make it tomorrow because tomorrow we will have our annual Christmas party with our company.
Oh, do that instead.
I think I will be back on Thursday then.
All right. Thanks, Metalhead, Patrick, Patricia, and Jim, Chris Ryle 29, and Soul Rebel. Everybody, Light Flyer, Jilly Love 101, how you doing there? Good to see you guys. Angel Tibbs, Kendra, how you doing? Jim Lockett. Thanks for all showing up today, making this a great party. We'll see you all tomorrow. Marcus is going to go have fun at the Christmas party. Right? And if you feel like dropping in from the party, showing us some of that live action, we can do that.
I'll try. I will try.
to tell your office group that we all want to say hi. We just
I will try to raise it.
All right, sounds good. All right, everybody. It's been Awake.
Bye-bye.